Hello friends, today we are going to learn the introduction to HTML. Myself Venkatesh Joshi studying in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. As well as we all know that HTML is a language of the web. It's used to design the web pages, or we can say structure the page layouts of a website. As its full form suggests, it's not any programming language, a markup language. So while the execution of HTML code, we can't face any such error. In real, HTML code was not compiled or interpreted because HTML code was rendered by the browser, which is similar to the compilation of a program. HTML content is passed through the browser to display the content of HTML. Now comes the topic structure of the HTML. The structure of the HTML is mainly divided into two parts: head and body. The head contains the information about the HTML document. For example, the title of the page, version of HTML, metadata, etc. Then now comes the body. This contains everything you want to display on the web page. Now we will see the in detail of the structure of HTML. This this document type HTML tells that this tag is used to tell the HTML version. This currently tells that the version is HTML 5.0. Then this HTML tag is used for it's the biggest main element in complete HTML language, and all the tags, elements, and attributes enclosed in it, or we can say wrap in it, which is used to structure a web page. HTML tag is parent tag of head and body tag. Other tags enclosed within head and body. In HTML tag, we use language attributes to define languages of HTML page, such as HTML language. Here, N represents English language. Some of them are Spanish, hence Chinese, French, and Greek, etc. And the next comes the body tag is used to enclose all the data which a web page has, from text to links. Now we will see the HTML headings are defined with the h1 to h6 tags. Search engines use the headings to index the structure and content of your web pages. Users often skim a page by its headings. It is important to use headings to show the document structure. And h1 heading should be used for main headings, and the your h6 heading is used for list headings. Now we can see the example for HTML heading. This the document type HTML defines the document type of the HTML and body. Then H1 is the this is the heading for one, and it is having the highest priority. Then H2 is heading for two, H3 is heading 3, and H4 is this is heading 4, and H5 stands for this is heading 5, and H6 is this is heading 6. This has the least priority, and all these 2, 3, 4, 5 headings all come in the intermediary. And this headings are very important in the HTML. Next we can see the HTML paragraphs. The HTML paragraph are defined with the p tag. The p tag in HTML defines a paragraph. These have both opening and closing tags. So anything mentioned within p and hash p is treated as a paragraph. Most browsers read a line as a paragraph even if we don't use a closing tag, but this may raise unexpected results. So it is a good conversation and we must use the closing tag. And its most basic unit of a text in HTML, and n number of p's can be used in the HTML. Now let us see the example for the p tag. This program is an example for p tag. Uh, the as already mentioned, the p tag automatically adds space before and after any paragraph, which is basically margins added by the browser. If a user adds multiple places spaces, the browser reduces them into single space. If a user adds multiple lines, the browser reduces them into single line. By default, the display of the paragraph element is set to block, which you can change using CSS. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. This means that if you add another paragraph to the web page, the next paragraph will be inserted in the next line on the web page. This is the example for the uh, paragraph. And the next topic comes the NBSP. NBSP stands for non-breaking space. A commonly used entity in HTML is the non-breaking space. A non-breaking space is a space that will not break into a new line. Two words separated by a non-breaking space will be stick together. This is handy when breaking the words might be disruptive. And the example for non-breaking space is 10 km per hour, 10 p.m., and all these are example for the non-breaking spaces. Now we can see the lesser than and greater than entity in HTML. For lesser than entity, we use the symbol less than and the entity name will be represented as LT. For example, you can see and hash 60. This is the example for lesser than HTML tag. Now we can see the greater than entity. For greater than entity, we use the symbol greater than and the entity name will be represented as and GT. For example, and has 62. This will be a good example for the greater than entity. And many example you can take. Now we will see the advantages and disadvantages of using the HTML tags. Now first we will see the advantages of using the HTML tags. HTML helps to build structure of a website and it is widely used as a markup language. Yes, and it is very easy to learn and very easy to remember. Every browser supports HTML language, and HTML is very lightweighted and fast to load. And HTML is not a programming language, and it is also portable. And do not get to purchase any extra software because it's by default in every Windows. We need not need to spend any extra money to purchase any personalized legalized software, so it will be by default. And now we will see the disadvantages of the HTML. The in disadvantages, it cannot produce dynamic output alone since it's a static language. And another disadvantage is making the structure of HTML documents become tough to understand, and it is very complicated also. And errors can be costly. Solving the errors in HTML is very complicated and they are too costly also. It is the time consuming as the time it consumes to maintain on the color scheme of a page and to make lists, tables, and forms. This is also one of the main disadvantages of the HTML. We need to write a lot of code for just creating a simple web page. Yeah, and yeah, for creating a simple web page also in HTML, we need to write a number of pages of code. So it is also a drawback of the HTML. So thank you so much for listening to the lecture.